Welcome to another edition of Keeping It 84. This is Paul Penniman, an old white guy,
And this is $20.
a relatively young African American gentleman, and we're here to discuss racial differences. We call it Keeping It 84 because we can't be completely honest. And I'm just coming back from a camping trip, and $20 tells me this is a foreign subject to his people. Let me tell you why I enjoy camping. I'm out there in the woods. Anything might happen. An animal might come by. That sounds fun to me. And I don't mind going to the bathroom in the woods. That's okay.
My God.
And who knows when the next meal is going to come along. So what's not to like?
Okay. That's for you, right?
Yeah.
And you enjoyed yourself.
When you were in high school, did you ever go on a camping trip?
No.
How come?
I didn't want to go.
Did they offer it?
No. It's Anacostia High School.
Yeah, there weren't any white teachers there, were there? There were a few.
There were white teachers,
There
but
were a
they knew
few.
we were not going camping. We were trying to survive in the hood. That
Yeah.
was our camping ground.
Yeah, I don't think they offered camping trips, did they?
And first of all, I don't think we could afford it.
So how do you know you wouldn't like something that you've never done? I think you and I should go out. You and I should go out camping.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I mean, I'll go camping with you just to say that I did.
No, I don't really want to, actually.
You don't want to? And good. I'm glad you don't. You know how they say that experience is the best teacher? But see, sometimes experience can get you killed because all it takes is one time and you can be dead. You won't even go back and be able to tell the other people how you survived. You'll be dead. Sometimes you sit back and you watch other people go through something and you learn from that. If you see that they nearly survive that situation, don't go into that situation. That's how I look at it. And I watch white people do some crazy, stupid stuff in my life. And I just said, I'm just not doing that. Okay, camping.
Can you give an example of what you're talking about?
Oh, I'm about to get into it.
Okay.
And this is a very interesting topic that, of course, you came up with, Mr. Penniman, because you're white. But from what I read statistically, approximately 70% of campers are white people. And approximately 12% are black people. And I'm like, why is that? I mean, it's not that complicated to really think about it. We just don't like camping.
And I think it's the same for like cross-country skiing or mountaineering.
Yes.
We like to climb mountains. We like to be
I'm not.
on the face of a mountain.
No.
And we like to go up to the Himalayas and freeze up there.
See,
That's not something. And in fact, when you do that, you pass all these little piles of excrement that people have to literally go to the bathroom while they're doing
do you
this.
pass some like frozen bodies?
I've not done it. I draw the line at 1,000 feet, but.
Well, here's my take on it. And like I said, everything I say is, opinionated for me. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. And you can give me your perspective on it. Whatever I'm going to say about these topics on this show today. First of all, in the woods is too many trees. That's post-traumatic stress, Mr. Penniman, for black people. Trees reminds us of the Klan. Trees reminds us of lynching. So already we're already nervous about that. So we're not going there for that.
Well, I've mentioned to you that my people are environmentalists, and we look at trees as giving out carbon dioxide, right, which is what we need to live. But
that's why y'all hang black people there, so it can be less black people there, so y'all can live.
No comment on that one.
I'm just saying, they don't do it no more, but it just, when I see a tree, that's what it reminds me of. I try to look at trees like, oh, they're beautiful, and they are, and they give us oxygen. But then, of course, you look at it from what we've been learned in school, that they hang black people from trees. So that's the first thing. And then we away from communication. I can't do that. And then we watch true documentaries and horror movies to be like, no, we're not fooling with Jason in the woods. We're not doing that.
Getting back to the lynching, they have a museum just about lynching in Montgomery, Alabama.
Oh
Is
Lord,
that something
that's bold.
would you like to visit a museum like that?
I will visit there. Yeah, I want to go see that. I just want to see it because I want to face it.
I'm
I
at,
don't want to be like, oh, I don't want to see that because then when you cower away from it, it's going to always haunt you. When you go there and look at it and be like, there it is, you can kind of free yourself from all that trauma.
I'm actually
We
going to
were lynched, and
I'm,
that's the truth.
I'm actually going to be in Montgomery in a week or so, so I'll let you know. I'll let all the listeners know if I get to see the museum and what it's like,
Oh
and
my gosh.
whether it's just white guilt ridden people visiting or African Americans.
It could be both. It might most likely be what you call it, guilt ridden white people.
Yes,
But imagine me and you coming in there.
we are full of guilt. You have to understand that.
Is that why y'all age so fast? The stress and the guilt.
We just look old.
We
That's all.
look because I wouldn't mind dating a white woman around my age, but they always look 20 or 30 years older than me.
We all look 60 at around 30. It's kind of funny how that works.
And see, that's the thing about it. In the horror movies, you got the white people sitting there, and I know it's a movie, but black people gonna talk to the TV. The white man out there, he know it's just him and Sarah out there. That he hear these strange noises, like Sarah, is that you? Sarah's sitting right there. You know that it's only y'all out there. So why are you going out there and say, who's out there? See what I'm saying?
You mentioned Jason. Is there a black serial killer out there in the Friday the 13th or Halloween movies? Or is it always a white person?
It's most likely a white person. The only black one I know, and it's probably more, but the one I know for sure is Candyman.
And I have to admit that if you did an AI query on Google or whatever and came up with a serial killer picture of someone 65 years old wearing, a short sleeved shirt, kind of preppy looking, it would look like my driver's license picture. So I think half of us at a certain age do look like that serial killer.
Yes. What I have to say about this about you, Mr. Penniman, you've never really aged. You've always stayed the same since I've seen you in 2012. You stayed the same. You always look like a pedophile. You always look like a serial killer. You've never changed. So you haven't aged.
It's nice. It's nice to stay that way. I've stayed 60 and dangerous for a while.
Yeah. See, but I would say the only way, or one of the ways that you may see like black people camping is if they've been convinced by their white friends. Maybe the black guy got a white girlfriend that's like, let's go, or the black girl got a white boyfriend that said, let's go camping. And most times, if you see us doing non-black activities, is because we may have some white friends that have convinced us to do so.
Yeah, or maybe we'll talk you into it like, oh, there's indoor cabins and there's plumbing. And of course, none of that is true.
No. And see, and it's probably even harder now to convince us to do it since Get Out came out in 2017. It's kind of hard probably now to get us to do anything that seems non-black.
Yeah, that was a scary movie.
I didn't really see it until I think I saw it a couple of years ago, and I said, oh. And I just got rid of all my white friends. I think you're the only one left, Mr. Penniman.
But it was a white female who was the real instigator, right? Who brought the men in.
Yeah, because we black guys like white girls. We like them.
Spoiler alert, in case you haven't seen the movie out there. The white woman brings the men in. And her father was played by Bradley Whitford, I think, the guy who was in West Wing, which was kind of funny because he was, liberal, our friend in the White House. And all of a sudden he's sticking needles into the brains of young black men.
And see, Jordan Peele wrote that movie, right?
Right.
He came up with all of that, right? The storyline and all of that.
Yep.
Yeah, so and he's black, so maybe he's seen something. Maybe he's just saying, hey, just
something he's noticed.
Yeah, he noticed, so he's just giving us a heads up. That's all, but he just put it into a nice little movie.
Once he started making money and looking at houses in the suburbs, he found out what it's really like out there.
And we're not staying out there that long. That's why y'all get killed in those movies and just in real life, because if it's black people out there, I'm talking about just straight black people. And before we even get the 10 up, if we just hear anything that says, we're out of here. And we like, okay, we only been here for 15 minutes. Now we out of here. We out of here. We're going back to the city. You know,
It's really the safest place to be is in Southeast DC, really, because you're not in the
really.
suburbs, you're not out camping when you think about it. That's why I moved over here.
That's what I wanted to ask you, Mr. Penniman. Out of all the places in the world, as a white man, why did you move here? Just down the street from Anacostia Station, one of the most, I'll say, dangerous stations around in
Well,
the area.
well, to be serious just for a minute, we started working at Anacostia High School,
Mm-hmm.
and we noticed that the students were acting angry all the time, acting out all the time. Only 20% of the students, or 80%, would come to school on a given day.
Right.
And the first time one of the students, while we were there, was killed
Oh,
over the weekend, and it was an accident. But still, it was gunshot violence, which is fairly prevalent in DC. And school resumed on Monday as if nothing weird had happened, like classes. And I thought, wait a minute, if this were a white school, there'd be counselors descending in
yes.
on parachutes. And is everyone feeling okay? Even if you didn't know the young man, which I
Hmm.
didn't,
Right.
people would want to know, are you okay? Are you feeling, how are you feeling about this? I mean, one of our community members has died, but things just kept going like
Yeah, they
normal.
just said whoever survived and can make it to school, class resume. If
Yeah,
you can't make it, you can't make it.
yeah. So I thought, okay, I've got to move into the neighborhood and find out what's going on here. Why are the kids acting the
So
way
where
they
was
do?
you at before all of this? Was you still there? So you was still at Anacostia and you leave.
Well, I we continue to work at the high school, but I just lived in the neighborhood for the last 3 years that I was working at Anacostia.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So you was able to see some stuff
yeah, yeah.
and it convinced you to stay here.
Well, I mean, it was really helpful in our work. We were trying to help low income kids survive, basically,
And we appreciate it.
and hopefully go to college and all that stuff.
I just thought it
We
was
we
I
might
thought it was a
we might
hidden agenda.
we might have to cut out the serious part there, but
No, that's fine. They're hearing your heart, Mr. Penniman, because we think that white people don't have souls. So the fact that you sat there and you kind of poured your heart out, that's good. You have something in your heart.
well, thank you, I appreciate that.
And camping. And I always watch, I guess, on television or just in documentaries, they love to sit around the campfire and they tell stories and they eat s'mores. I can't stand s'mores. Them white girls love s'mores. They just eating the s'mores, and I guess it reminds them all the threesomes and gang bangings and running a train through them with the black guys that they had. Think about it. All
So,
that chocolate and graham crackers surrounded by that white marshmallow. It just brings back a good time.
so a nice marshmallow treat
Hmm.
that young white people have enjoyed for years reminds you of a sexual threesome.
For them, I guess, yeah, with the black guys. They love them some black guys. So, in conclusion, dealing with this particular subject, this particular topic with camping, black folks just don't fool with camping.
Well,
You get you talking about let's go hiking. No, no, I'm good. And like you were saying, mountaineering. Come on, 20. You want to be a mountaineer? No, just bring back a souvenir. That's if you're still alive. Now and I have to say this. Y'all do a lot of things that are crazy. That's why y'all die. I know they say black on black crime. We don't need to be in chains anymore, or we don't need to be in slavery. We don't need to worry about the police killing the black people because we're killing each other out. But I think y'all kill yourselves because y'all just jump into these situations that are just crazy. But I want to thank y'all for that, because some of the things that y'all do that are crazy, if you didn't do it, we really wouldn't know the planet that we're on. We need crazy white people to go out there and die for the sake of information and research so that we can be able to survive this planet. Like, I mean, uh, y'all go out there in front of tornadoes and storm chasing and all that. But that's good, because that way we can know how to know the safety of what to do when a tornado come or a hurricane or earthquake and things like that. So y'all do that stuff.
yeah, I think you all need to be one with the environment. You need to get out there in the woods, half naked and then just smell the fresh air and stop drinking out of plastic bottles of
But
water.
imagine if a bunch of black people get out there half naked or naked in the woods. It's going to cause an uproar. They're going to come and lock us up. They're going to think we're animals.
Well, you leave your cameras and your phones behind. There's no record of it.
So
It's
y'all
just
like to go out into space and blow up in space shuttles and things like that. Go up to the mountains, get eaten by mountain lions and things like that. I don't think there's any frozen black people on the summit of Mount Everest.
that's a good question. I don't think there is.
If
We'd have
there
to find
are,
out.
there's a bunch of frozen white people up there. They died in the name of research and information. But if there are some black people up there, once again, I think they were convinced by their white friends to go with them on this ridiculous expedition.
Hmm. Well, I don't know how you're going to make it in the world if you don't want to get out there in the woods and just
I made it this far in Southeast DC, so I think I'm fine. I'm fine. Long as I have the basics, long as I'm able to go to work and eat, and then tornadoes and stuff like. Well, we don't have too much of that here anyway. We don't do nature, Mr. Pendleton. We do not do the nature. We are city people. We stay in the city and get robbed like we're supposed to.
yeah, but what environment that seems to be getting safer is the trains and the buses. Is
Speaking
that
of getting robbed in the city,
is that possible?
transitioning over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
back in the city, since COVID happened, they the circulator bus, which is no longer, but that was free for a while. As soon as they made the bus free for a few months, did you notice that people just, okay, I'm not paying ever again?
Hmm.
And so
And when you meet people, who are you talking about?
I'm saying
A certain different demographics.
the people in Southeast
Yeah.
DC, you people, no, yeah. When I get on the bus, I mean, I have peer pressure not to pay for my bus
That's
fare.
crazy. See, and
Over 90%, if 100%, sometimes don't pay for the bus almost every time I take it around my neighborhood.
so you feel pressured not to pay.
That's right. That's right. That's
See
right.
that?
If I pay, there'll be some grumbling,
Yeah, like who he
like
think he is.
like
I'm the
motherfucker.
same way. I will get on the bus, and it's like now if I get on a bus, there's a bunch of white people getting on. They're paying do 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 do. So I'm sitting there like there's two ways I can do this. I'm the only black one getting on there, so she's already expecting for me not to pay the bus driver. So let me just act it out the way she see me. But then I'm like, no, I want to be able to get on there and tap my car like the white people. So when I did that, the bus driver actually looked at me like, oh, like I betrayed her. So now when I get on the bus, I say, what am I going to do? Is I'm going to pay like the white people, or am I going to get on the bus and be true to myself and not pay
Now, when I go up to Ward,
like the black person I
when I go up to Ward 3, which is for those of you
am?
not in the DC area, that's
Uh,
Upper Caucasia, I like to call it. The peer pressure goes the other way. If I board a bus up there, if I don't pay, I feel like all the white people are staring at me. Why are you're not paying? You're deliberately not paying.
right.
So I tap my little thing. And now as a senior, it's only $1.15 or something. So it's not a big deal.
Okay.
But the peer pressure goes in different directions.
Right.
And sometimes I'm in between, like, what do I do in Ward 4?
Yeah,
So I have to kind of look at
because Ward 4 has a diverse group of
I
people.
look at the passengers when I get on and I think, should I pay? Should I not pay? I look at the bus driver. What's he
That's
thinking?
right. Look at the bus driver. He'll tell you that because they look at. Sometimes they don't even care. They just like.
Yeah, I have not seen a bus driver, and I've seen hundreds of people just skip right past the bus
Matter of fact,
driver.
sometimes they turn the little what you call it where you pay the card on. They turn that off sometimes in certain areas.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy now that you are pressured to not pay. But hey, I'm cool with it. I ain't got no money.
Now you've seen the Eddie Murphy bit.
Yes, I
Have you
did.
seen it? So Eddie Murphy, this was like 40 years ago. He was a
1984, actually.
genius just like yourself,
Oh, right.
Mr. $20. And if you don't know why he calls himself $20, go back to our first episode
Oh Lord.
and you can hear the whole explanation of why he calls himself $20. But Eddie dyed himself white, I guess, or made himself look white,
At least he looked mixed.
and the white bus driver just waves him on. Hey, no problem. We don't have to pay. And he gets all these favors
Hmm.
and everything. So you never know the actual racial politics that gets involved just with being a bus driver.
Right. They see a lot.
Do you think that plastic thing is really protecting them? There's like a hard plastic wall supposedly protecting the driver from the passengers. Is that really helping?
A little bit. It slows it down.
It's like a salad sneeze
Because
guard,
if somebody really
right?
crazy want to get them, they're gonna get them. Because you can shoot through that unless it's bulletproof.
On the X2 bus, which doesn't exist anymore, the
Right.
most
They just
entertaining.
it exists. They just try to change the name,
They changed the name.
trying to
Yeah.
wipe out all the negative publicity that comes with the X2. So they try to change it.
Yeah. Did we mention this last week? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah. We did.
Did we talk about the driver getting hit with the passenger actually peed in a cup and then threw it on the bus driver? Did we talk
I
about that?
think you
That-
breezed through it. I
It's a
believe.
subject I'm fascinated about. Yeah.
Oh, you fascinated with urine being thrown on?
Drivers getting assaulted.
That's
So the
disgusting.
drive
I expect that from R. Kelly.
so that no, the drivers don't want any altercation, so they're not going to cause
Throwing pee
any
on somebody.
trouble. They don't. What's the phrase? They don't want no smoke. Is that the
No, yeah,
phrase?
they don't want no smoke.
Aren't you
But
impressed?
meanwhile, the bus is on fire.
Aren't you impressed that I know the lingo?
I'm actually no, I'm not because you know more about black culture than I do. Unfortunately, Mr. Penniman, I just mind my business and go to work, go to church, go to my grandma's house, and that's it. You know more about it than I do, which is weird, but I like it. But
I think you're black enough. I'm looking at
I look black,
you've
yes,
got dreads.
but as soon as I open my mouth, that's a wrap.
You've got a mask on.
A mask that looked like for COVID, yes.
If I knocked on your door, how would you answer the door if I came to your house? Because Eddie Murphy all has this bit that he's Mr. Rogers, except it's Mr. Robinson. He goes, "Who is it?" Do you answer the door politely, or you go, "Who is it?" When
I might
somebody
not
knocks on
answer at
your door.
all. I might just pretend I'm not there.
That's actually what I do. I don't answer the door
I don't
either.
answer the door.
Yeah.
And then there's a trick to it because I don't even. I would. What I do is during the day I will cover all of my windows so it won't be bright because if you look through the peephole, they can see the peephole get dark. So I make my house really dark so they won't know that I'm going to the peephole and looking through. So they can't tell. But if you got the blinds open and it's shining inside during the day, and then somebody come to your door, like maybe a Jehovah Witness you don't want to be dealing with, and you look through the peephole, you'll see their face all in it. They trying to look to make sure that peephole doesn't go dark because if it does, they know somebody in there. So the trick is just cover your house black so they won't know.
Now, you'll notice I have all my windows, the blinds are wide open here.
Yes,
Those of you on News
they
Channel,
are too. That's just open.
those of you watching on News Channel 8, the blinds are open on both sides. And every time I have a young African American guest here, and I go away for a few days, I come back, and even the blinds in the kitchen, everything's drawn.
Yeah. We put it. We don't
So
like
what's
our
up with
windows
that?
open like
You
that.
don't want people to see you from the outside?
No, no.
You can wave to them.
Wave to who? The gunman? I don't.
Friendly neighbors.
No, we
The cluckheads.
no. And see, and we was talking about that. We can get into this as far as since we're talking about um um like we were saying about the X2, it changed because of all the negative publicity. I always have trouble saying that word. What's it called? Publicity.
I used to not be able to say spaghetti. I guess
Oh Lord.
spaghetti.
Yeah, but all the negative stuff that came with the X2, I guess we can still say that because it's still out there. It's just a different name. I think they call it the D20 now, but it's still the same bus route. It's still going the same neighborhoods. But we were getting into uh, the most safest and then the most dangerous metro stations in the metropolitan area.
Oh, the safest one
Okay.
would have to
And
be.
this is very important because the metropolitan area depends heavily on metro, particularly in the African American community. And of course, the most dangerous metro stations are located in northeast and southeast of DC. We know that.
You know, the European travel guides that tell people not to go on the Green Line,
Yes.
which goes from PG County to PG County, and it's
So it goes from one cesspool right back into another cesspool.
You're calling your fellow African Americans cesspool vermin.
No, but we tend to live in that kind of slump and I'll get to that why. A lot of stuff that goes on is not right. The way we be treated and what is given to us, we've been dealt a bad hand. But on top of that, we kind of shoot our own selves in the foot because some of the stuff that we do to ourselves and each other, our fellow Black Americans, we can't really get ahead. If you're looking at me like you're confused,
Well, I was just thinking that the Green Line was built late. You know, it was
right?
one. It was like the last
It
subway
was the
line
last one. It
that
makes
was
sense because
built.
it's going into Southeast. They're like, let's deal with them last. Whatever we got left, we'll build it over there for them.
And I remember Mayor Barry was pissed off about that. Marion Barry was mayor
God
here
rest his soul.
40 years ago, and the white people got their red line, which went from Montgomery County to
Right,
Montgomery County,
right.
and then the people in Virginia got their subway line, and the Green Line was in construction all the time. So when cable TV came along, Mayor Barry made sure the folks in Southeast were the first ones to get wired for cable.
And hey, we can take whatever we can get. You know what I'm saying? But guessing that crime on Metro, I'm guessing, has taken a dip since the National Guard has been present. But you know, they're really out there to protect the white people because I'm at Navy Yard and I see them. It's a heavy presence over there. Navy Yard, waterfront.
Yeah, but they're not doing anything, are they?
No, they just standing there.
Yeah.
I think some of the white National Guards are just waiting until nighttime so they can pick up some black prostitutes. I don't know what they're doing.
Did I tell you I had a box of donuts? And
No.
I hadn't opened them, and I was sitting at the, this was at the Anacostia bus station a couple months ago, and they were standing there, National Guard, and maybe an ICE guy or two, and it's kind of a stereotype to offer a cop to be in a donut shop,
Yes,
and
it
it could
is.
be a fat cop. That's the stereotype. They don't work very hard and they just eat donuts, which is totally unfair. I understand. So I thought, well, it's a cold day. Should I offer them a donut? Would that be considered an insult? What should I do? What's the etiquette here?
Right.
So what do you think I did? It was a mixture too of white and black,
Please, oh
male and
Lord, did
female.
you give it to him?
I didn't say a word to them. And actually, a woman came along who was starving. She literally said she hadn't had anything to eat all day, and it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I said, "Here, I haven't opened these. Have a donut." So it was like a win-win. The
Okay,
cops,
so you gave it. Okay,
right? The
cool.
cops didn't get any, but the woman did. So that was good.
That's good. She
Yeah,
came right just in time so you won't embarrass yourself.
yeah,
See, if you got to think about it too much, then you might as well just don't do it.
yeah.
If you got to think about it. But you know, they're there to protect the white people. They say, oh, well, we're here to deter crime. But see, you at Navy Yard, I'm not saying not too many crimes happen there, but compared to the next stop over, which is Anacostia, I think you really need to be at Anacostia where the real crimes are. Now. So that's how I knew that, okay, they're just there to protect the white people. Now, I've seen a few National Guards at Anacostia from time to time, but I think it's because they saw probably a few white people come from out of there. So they say, oh, so there are some white people that come there. So we need to kind of deploy them there so that we can protect the little bit of white people that get off there. You know, I'm thinking like that. Because I don't see them in the, I don't see them at Minnesota Avenue. I could be wrong. I don't see them at Congress Heights.
Yeah, I don't get the sense that they're protecting African American people.
They're not. They're trying to make sure that they are protecting the white people from African American people.
I mean, we have a president who wants to make the city look clean and kind of
Clean and white, right?
white. Yeah, kind of Mr. Clean looking.
And like I said, there's no need to get upset about it. Everybody getting upset. They're getting surprised. Oh, he said this. And oh, they said it. Listen, we've been dealing with this for so long. Why are we still up? And I get it. We have to voice our opinions. We have to keep on marching on, to do some change. Because it does help a little bit. It does bring attention to the injustice. But like I said, I'm not wasting my time. I just want to just live my life.
Do you know the story of the Subway sandwich man?
No.
He threw his sandwich, which was a great sacrifice. He gave up his sandwich and he threw it at the ICE cops because they were being really mean to some random Latino people
Okay.
and hit one of them in the face
What did they do?
and tried to run away.
He
He was a guy
hit.
who kind of looked like me, not too imposing.
That's cool.
And they arrested him, tried to charge him with a felony, And the judge threw the case out,
Well,
which
good,
was,
because he hit him in the head with a sandwich. Now I wonder what would it be if it was a black person.
yeah, I don't
First of all,
know.
we're not throwing sandwiches. We like now. I need to eat this because I don't know if I'm gonna be hungry later on. I'm not. I'd rather throw hands than to throw my sandwich.
Well, that's a good question. If you're a black guy and you're 30 feet away from ICE cops who are just, dragging some, could be an incident, they don't know. They pick up people just for a bounty, right? And so
Wow,
they're just dragging people along. What do you do? What can you do?
that's the thing. I don't know what I would do, Mr. Pittman. I never been in that situation.
Pull out your glizzy?
I wish I had one, but no, I wouldn't know what to do. And that's the thing, because I don't want to be out there, because I might be the type to see that and be like, "Listen, somebody will get it," because I ain't trying to get in there. That's none of my business.
Yeah.
I don't know what they did.
You're not giving up your sandwich.
No, I'm not giving up my set, especially if it's a fish sandwich at McDonald's. No,
What
I'm not.
what about your cookie?
I don't even get no cookies, so I'm going to eat the cookie.
Okay.
So, of course, the safest metro stations are located in Northern Virginia areas where the white people are. That's just a fact. And all of the more treacherous stations are located in neighborhoods that are heavily dominated by African Americans. So that's just the way it is. Matter of fact, I would say Clarendon, from what I read, Clarendon and Virginia Square are rated among the safest.
Really, they actually have ratings for safety?
From what I read, I like I said, this is just what I've seen. Now, somebody else might come up with something different and say, well, if because it shifts and changes, every year in and year out. But
So you're saying the stations along the Green Line are the more
oh,
dangerous?
they're the more dangerous.
So
Yes.
the European travel guides are correct.
Yeah.
People should stay off the Green Lines.
We still need the green line because it's still, it's still. I would say, but I know when I'm at Gallery Place, I know when I miss the green line because I see a bunch of white people around.
But the only crime I see on the trains are people are playing their phone and they've got, their Instagram reels
Yeah,
going
and
and
all
it's
that
just driving me,
profanity.
or they're just yelling, they're upset about something and they're yelling either at their boyfriend
Yeah.
or about their boyfriend and they're just yelling and I just want to, just try to tune it out somehow and
I don't know how people can get on our people get on the train and we don't care because I guess I don't know, but they just be talking, especially they just be running their mouths and they telling their whole business out, but they like you said they cussing the boyfriend out on the phone
you think
and
you all are used to more noise than white people?
of course
Yeah, we like
I watch newborn babies. My mother was watching the newborn babies, and I would sit there and watch them. And the music is loud. My mother playing 50 Cent and Bone Thugs and Harmony out loud, and the newborn baby is sleeping through. As soon as we turned it off, the baby woke up crying.
Yeah, I think we
And
like
she
it.
said, "Turn it on." I was like, "What? What? Turn it off because you're gonna make the baby wake up. It's trying to sleep." She's like, "No, keep it on." The baby likes all that noise.
Yeah, I think we like a library setting for some reason.
You said what?
We like a library setting, and we want to shush people. Shh.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, y'all don't. I guess the way y'all built, y'all don't like big boom and vibrations and all that kind of. I can tell by y'all music. Y'all music. Y'all made some good music, but I'm like, where's the bass? We black people, we like bass and drums, and y'all. I guess y'all not built like that.
I don't know if I told you this, but I was looking at houses around the neighborhood, and there was this nice block, and I said to the neighbor, "Oh, what's this block like?" And she said, "Oh, it's nice. There's a policeman who lives on the street, and
Yeah.
it gets a little noisy sometimes, but not too bad." And I thought, oh, I could probably take. So I mentioned this to the summer class, summer program we were doing, and I mentioned the noise issue to Travis, or to the class, and Travis says, Travis says, "You haven't heard black noise." I'm
Travis
not
boy.
sure. Well,
Now that's the real comedian right there.
I think the only real complaint I've had about noise in this neighborhood is July 4th, which used to be my most favorite holiday up in Ward 3, just kind of playing patriotic music and the
Yeah. Okay.
band's marching. And now down here, it sounds like we're in Baghdad during the assault by. And to be honest, I don't like loud noises like that. Not everybody does. It reminds me of gunshot violence.
Right, you're white, Mr. Penniman. That is expected of you. That's why the microphone is closer to you, and I'm way over here because you see my voice. You would think I'm up on the microphone, but I'm a mile away from the microphone. I'm loud. I don't mean to be. Sometimes when my grandma talked to me, she's just as sweet as she could be when she's talking to me. But sometimes I think, why is she yelling at me? She's just said, yeah, Brian, yeah, just go in that bathroom and just make sure you wash your face. And I cooked some macaroni for you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, why is
Now,
she she just sweet?
I'm under the table now as Brian is $20 is talking like this.
That's how we talk, though. We're loud. We have to. We're
Don't
just loud people.
don't give away your real name, by the way.
Yeah, well. My first name. It doesn't matter. They're gonna find out
How
anyway.
did you get a white first name, by the way?
That's another
It's
thing.
like Todd. Is your brother's name Todd?
No, it's Antonio.
Antonio?
Mhm.
Okay, so someone wised up there.
So my white name is
Is it not Brian, really?
it's
Okay.
Brian,
Okay.
but it's
What's your
I
middle
don't know why my mother
What's your middle name?
Delonte. See,
Ah, okay.
it's going
Okay.
back and back. It's
You need
like
to keep that off your resume. If you keep Delonte
I
off,
always say my first and last name. That's
yeah,
definitely white.
yeah.
But my middle name, I wish my middle name was my first name. But it's fine. It's the way it
Really, you
is.
want to be a Delonte?
Yeah.
But records show that it's harder to get a job if you have a black sounding first name. Everything else being equal.
It's probably harder to get certain jobs. We could get a job, but it's harder to get certain jobs. That's why I say I don't care. Just give me the job where I'm sorting boxes, unloading trucks. I don't need to sit behind a desk. I don't need to do that.
Although with AI, who really knows how people get hired these days,
I don't know
and
either.
what people do, and how many jobs they have at the same time,
Might have to go on OnlyFans.
and where they're working.
That's one of my backups. Is OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, get in a little bit of shape and then just do it because it's just like what we're doing right here. We're just doing whatever we're doing in front of the screen. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just I think most likely I'm going to get a lot of gay patriots. So that's what I'm concerned about. But hey, if the money's coming in, they can send it, but just don't touch me. I'm on the screen. That's it.
I think that's part of the Bill of Rights, actually. The right to be a subscriber of any type of person you are.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. You for real?
Yeah, it's in the Constitution.
Oh, okay.
We have rights. We have rights. I know you don't think you have any rights, but
we know we do. We just don't. You ever
we,
seen that? You
we
ever
have the
seen when
right.
the people get arrested? Our people, black people, and let's say they get pulled over for what, a traffic violation, but then they found out they got all these warrants, and then they're like, okay, the officer is telling them 1,000 times. Sir, ma'am, may you step out the car? They know this is protocol. They're like, I ain't stepping out the car. I know my rights. And I'm like, do you really know your rights? They always say that. I know my rights. I know my rights. I don't know nothing.
Now, if you're being arrested, you have to step out of the car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know too much. That's why I try my best not to get in trouble. Now, thank God there's people around me like my aunt and other people that know stuff that they can inform me of. But me personally, I don't really know too much about anything except for just go to work, go to grandma's house, go to church, go home. And that's why I stay out of trouble. That way, because if I get into some trouble, you're going to see how stupid I really am. So I do my best not to do anything, illegal. I have to. You got. If you're gonna do illegal stuff, you got to really be smart. So I said, I'm not that smart, so I'm gonna be a good person. And I'm not saying being a good person is stupid, but I'm just saying I'll keep myself out of a lot of trouble.
So you're gonna
So
stay in your lane,
yeah, stay in my lane. I just wanna. I just wanna.
but don't be a subservient. Bend over. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh no, I'm not bending over
Yes,
nothing.
yes, master.
No, 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 no,
Okay.
no.
Don't be
I'm
like
not
that.
bending over. I'm not bending over. Matter of fact, that's the thing. If I get into some trouble, they might try to bend me over. See, when you get arrested, what they do? Bend you over. Put the
Well,
hands behind your back. I'm not trying to do that.
well, they need to
Then
look.
stick the nice stick up my behind.
They need to look everywhere, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They do. So it's already bad enough that I I am black. I have locks in my hair. If I don't talk, I I look like a typical black person in Southeast. Matter of fact, I was with some friends. We went past Berry Farms one day, and they looked at me and they said, "Brian, you're with us. You got the look, but just don't open your mouth. If you open your mouth while we're traveling through Berry Farms, you're going to give us all away. You're going to put us all in some serious danger. Don't open your mouth." I said, what's wrong with saying hi? What's wrong with saying God bless you? Hey, folks, how y'all doing over there? How's it going? Nice day. He said, you don't say nothing. Just be quiet. And that's what I did.
The very first week I moved in here in Howard Road in Southeast DC, I was told by the neighborhood kids that we're beefing with Berry Farms. which still existed. They still had apartment buildings there. Now they're all gone. I don't know what they're going to rebuild there. But the kids painted on my trash can their gang symbol or whatever, the neighborhood symbol, 25 or whatever. So I was anointed a member of the Oxford Manor Washington View crew. I don't know
God,
what
I remember that. I remember all that.
could I be a target? I wasn't sure.
I seen when I was in school. I seen that. I seen them. I did something really crazy one day because they was having graffitis all over. They trying to build our school up, and we just turned it down. I didn't get this. I seen like part of the finished model of Anacostia. I think because when I was graduating that year, that I decided to stay back. Uh,
Wasn't it completely done by the
it,
time
it
you
was
were graduating?
no. I seen the first part of it.
Okay, so the kids were still in trailers for
Yeah,
some
yeah.
part.
We were still in trailers,
Hmm.
and I was like, "This is a concentration camp."
It was a difficult renovation because if you try to redo a school and not tear it completely down,
Right.
then it's going to be not as nice. You can't really master or
Right. It's a lot
get
to it.
the HVAC perfect.
Then you got to try to connect, tear down the old stuff and connect it with the new stuff instead of just building it all at one time. So it was, but I was
Yeah,
able to see the first part of the promised land, the flowing with milk and honey.
we should have
That's
stayed.
the other side.
You should have stayed for a sixth year.
I was trying, but they was like, we got to get you out of here
You have
because
you have
I was trying.
you have 160 credits, Brian. It's time to go.
I told you I just was not ready to go into the real world. But when I started to realize all the kids were getting younger and younger, I'm like, I can't talk to these girls. They're too young. So I'm getting out of here. All the older people were leaving. So I said, let's get out of here. But I seen the first part, and when I was there, it was nice though. But I could see that like when you see nice things coming into uh heavily dominated African American community, we already question who is this for. We know it ain't for us. One matter of fact, I remember one teacher said, "This ain't for y'all. I just want you to know that."
Yeah, I heard teachers say that too. They're going to bring in all these white people
Yeah,
and
it's gonna be white people. We see it.
take over the neighborhood.
It's beginning to sleet. It's beginning. I see flurries in the summertime. It's snowing. They're coming in, especially when the what's it called? The baseball season is going on. It be snowing heavily in July when they go to the national baseball park down there in Navy Yard. All them white people over there, and but they get along. They come there. They say it was so many white people out there, but y'all are so quiet when y'all walk. It's like nice little chatter.
We're silent but deadly.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, to make it feel better, I think I can count on one hand the number of families, white families in the neighborhood that are strolling around their kids, which really means that's a sign that they want to stay for a while, right? They're having
Yes.
kids, they're having family, they're putting down roots. Maybe a white family will buy in just to rent it out. So I've seen very little of an actual white family wanting to live in
That's
the
what I thought you were renting. But then when I saw the house you was in, I said, yeah, he live here. But the thing is, I you were saying the graffitis and all that. I seen that around the school, but see, once again, I didn't. I'm glad they if they know now, it was some time ago. But if they would have found out, I probably would have been shot. But I was in the bathroom stall, and they always put up, like you said, like 25th, 27th, and um, all these game areas.
wasn't there 22nd and Bang Bang or something like
I,
that?
I think 22nd Street was Deuce Deuce. That's what I used to live
Deuce
on.
Deuce, right?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I used to wear my collar up because I didn't want my neck to be shown.
Yeah, a block or two from here is Cashville,
Cashville,
and
yes.
then further down is Cruddy or Chapa City.
Chopper City,
Yeah.
all of them. And then there was another one that said Oi, the Oi. And I saw that and the way they did it, they put a circle, the O, the letter O, and they
Mhm.
put the Y. But the circle, the O, looks like a target like you have on a
Oh,
gun.
like a bullseye.
Yeah, and it said the Oi. And I was asking one of my classmates, what is that? And it was like, well, first of all, when I saw it, I'm saying we in school and it's a DC public school, so most of us are illiterate anyway. Maybe the guy was trying to finish spelling oysters and he just didn't know the rest of the letters. So I put up there, I said, I'll finish it for him because he put the graffiti up there saying Oi. I said, okay, oysters. I put the S, the T, and the E, and the R, and the S on there. And I said, there you go. Now he can come back and see this how you spell oysters. So that got around. They said somebody disrespected our crew and gonna put up their oysters. And I was like, oh Lord have mercy. I thought they was trying to finish spelling it out, but they didn't know how. So I made sure I stayed away from that. You have Cashville. I thought they said that because they were broke. You had Chopper City. I thought they was chopping food. I didn't know what they was talking about. I was like, why is all these cities Cashville, Chopper City? But I didn't get into it because I remember I went outside and they had a brawl outside. Have you ever heard about that, Miss? I think you wasn't here when you came to Anacostia.
It was the fall of 2010.
Okay, so you wasn't here in 2008 when I first got there. They was burning up trash cans in the bathroom. I remember, Lord have mercy, I'm not gonna say her name. I remember when one teacher said, "Okay, I mean, I sat down, I was ready to learn," and she said, "All right, get up. The bathroom's on fire. Y'all can go home." That's what she said, and we all left. That's how it was. And then when I came outside, I'm watching all these. It was like a game fight, and they was all brawling, stabbing each other with they call it pin like knives.
Right.
And I saw that.
Now, you see, if any bit of violence would happen in a school that had a sizable white population, you'd have enough parents who are lawyers, and they would just start writing letters on legal stationery saying, this is not going to continue.
Right.
My son or daughter is being denied.
That's not happening at Anacostia.
Their
That's
rights,
not.
blah, blah, blah. And things would be changing in a week or two.
Yes.
But at Anacostia, I mean, it slowly got better, but
it's gotten better since they slowly moving us out and slowly making it snow. But
wait, has there been a white high school graduate from Anacostia in the last few years? I'm not aware of
sure.
any.
I'm not sure.
I don't think
I know it was a couple of Hispanics, but I don't think it was no white.
If you're in the Marine, or what's the Air Force? The Air Force Base.
Yes.
Anacostia Bowling Joint Air Force Base. You actually are supposed to go to Anacostia High School or Kramer Middle School. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
So no one, but none of the kids ever do. They always end up going to an application school like McKinley Tech or School Without Walls, or they'll go to a private school if they can afford it, or a Catholic school.
Oh.
But their territory is literally the Anacostia neighborhood. They're supposed to go to those schools.
Well, they're not going there.
No, they're not.
They're not going there, and because it's too bad, and it's not going to happen. It didn't happen. And matter of fact, it was so crazy where when I first got, my mother was like, "You're not going to school the next day," which I didn't, because they were stabbing each other. There were cars going by and drive-by shooting, and then Baloo, they was competing to see. Like we were always like second. It was always Baloo first that always had something crazy going on. I remember they just ran Kathy, what's her name, Kathy Lanier, the what's it called, the chief of police.
Chief,
yeah. They ran her ragged. I mean, she was over at Baloo, and then something happened, and then she going to Anacostia. Baloo always did something first. It was always Baloo that did something first, crazy, and then Anacostia was second. So I was like, well, if they're going to do this every day, I mean, I didn't mind staying home.
Yeah.
But it was like a lot of violence, and they were trying to compete to see which one was violent. I just say at the end of the day, people are getting shot. That's why you say a lot of people didn't come to school, and they wonder, well, what's up with truancy? Because the students, you had to walk through a certain area to get to school, and they don't know if they're going to get across to the other side. I remember I was with some people, and I was like, okay, I'm not in nothing. I'm just, all right, I'm going home. I'm going to McDonald's first, and I'm going home. And I was with some people, and they said, I was like, all right, we're getting on the 92. And we're going up there to get some McDonald's. And they was looking at me like, Brian, I can't go that way. I'm like, it's just up the street. If I go up there, I'm not going to make it back down. They couldn't even go in certain places because, certain areas because of the gang. And like 25th ain't going to go over there to the, y'all sharing the same, what's it called, corner store.
Right.
But whoever gets there first, that's their territory. So 27th Street can't go to the corner store and get some bread because 25th Street over there, and 25th Street would mess with anybody from 27th Street. But I'm like, it's the corner store.
Right. So the first Thanksgiving I was living here.
Yes.
We were running an after-school program at Oxford Manor, so I knew a lot of the Oxford Manor kids.
Right.
I knew maybe 20 kids. And I thought, okay, when I was a kid back in Pleasantville, New York, which was all white, by the way.
Well, it says Pleasantville.
Shocker. We used to play football the day after Thanksgiving. Our buddies would get together. So I said, okay, let's have a football game. So we said, okay, we're going to meet at Oxford Manor at a certain time, and we're going to walk down to this field, which is like half mile away, down by Butler.
Okay.
Okay. So
see, that sounds like Butler Gardens.
Well, pretty close, yeah. So actually, the way I'm supposed to say it is round Butler,
Butler.
right? Right.
Yeah. We don't do that ER. We just
Right.
take that off and put the A on you.
So we got a couple footballs, and 10 or 12 of us walked the half mile. And this had never been done. And since and before, I'd never seen, groups of people walking to go to a game or something like that. It was
Right.
just like never been done before.
Mm.
People walking through these neighborhoods to get to and we've had a fun time. And I took video and everything. It was great. And then I was talking to some of the adults in the neighborhood. Oh my God, you walk through that area and that area. And it's like I'm with 10 and 12-year-old kids. What are they going to what are they going to do to the 10 and 12-year-old kids, right? So it was a complete.
It's a different take. It was amazing that they couldn't go just up the street. So that's why a lot of times the teacher be like, well, whoever's here, we're just going to continue the lesson. I guess JJ didn't make it today. Maybe he's still at home, or maybe he was gunned down. I don't know, but whoever's here, they're here. So I made it to school, so they knew that I was not part of a game because I made it to school. But I always had my collar up, so they thought I was in a game, but I was. I just like my collar because one girl tried to kiss me on my neck, and it startled me. It was like, ah, and so I kind of pulled my collar up a bit so I wouldn't be startled like that again. I'm pulling it down more so often now. They can come and kiss it, but they're nowhere to be found at this point. But at that time, it was like very before you came, Mr. Penniman. It was like we would go home randomly. It was just like the teacher come in and say, "Go home while you can," So that's how
Let,
it
let me
is.
say one more thing about that field. That field is never used by kids.
Who feel?
The field that we walked a half mile,
And where's it at?
we had the one game. It's like 4 blocks down towards 16th Street, right near Butler.
Brother, okay,
Yeah,
Butler.
yeah.
Okay,
You got the picture. So if we were to make a right
I think I know
down
what you're
there,
talking about.
yeah.
Yeah,
So the field is never used. When I was a kid, and this might be an old thing as well as a white thing, we would always try to find some backyard that was big enough so we could have a football game
right.
or baseball or whatever we were doing. And that doesn't happen around here. The kids are not playing in a field. They're not going with themselves to go play there. If they're playing at all, they might throw the ball in the parking lot. They might.
And
But,
why you think that is, Mr. Penniman?
well, you said that people don't want to be walking around their
Right,
neighborhoods.
it's not safe.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's like that now. Things may have changed, but like I said, we're just talking about what has been. That's why they was like, why you took them kids through that? But they should look at you and tell you didn't know. But you just like, oh, I'm just taking the children. That's why it's so funny. You put yourself in this neighborhood and you stand out like a sore thumb, a sore white thumb, and you're learning more about what's going on. But it seemed like you still got a long way to go. You just got, and it's okay. It's all right. You maybe you'll change some things. You'll be able to be the spokesperson for all of the other white people to say, hey, there are some white people out here that really care about less fortunate people. Basically, the African American people, black people in Southeast or whatnot. And I'm not looking for um, an agenda. You're not trying to be in control of anything, are you?
No, but I was the only white male over the age of 30 in either Anacostia High School or Ballou High School, where we worked later. For those of you who don't know, the two high schools in Ward 8 are Anacostia High School and
In
Ballou.
blue.
And do you know who Ballou was originally?
What is?
He was the superintendent of schools back in, I think, the 40s. So they named a high school after him.
Oh, white man.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess he was because it was a white neighborhood in those days,
Yeah,
and
well,
it switched in the 60s.
yeah, with the white flight.
There was white flight. Yeah.
Now they're trying to come back for I guess they tired of keep coming into the city and working and going back out there. They say, well, we had this first. Let's come on back. That's why when I saw the circulators, you were talking about the circulators. When I saw the circulator going up Good Hope Road, now they named it, what is it called? Marion Barry?
Marion Barry finally got something named after him.
Thank God. But they did Good Hope Road. It's amazing because it wouldn't make. I don't know if they was being funny by doing that to Marion Barry. Because out of all the streets and out of all the areas they named Good Hope Road, they want to change that. Why couldn't he get a street named after him in Ward 3?
Well, funny story about Ward 3. It was the only ward not to vote for Marion Barry one time. All the other 7 wards voted for Barry.
Lord have
And I
mercy.
think it was Carol Schwartz who won in Ward 3.
Schwartz.
And
Her name was
so,
Schwartz.
yeah, so someone asked Barry about that. He goes, "Well, Ward 3 is just going to have to get over it."
They're going to have to.
So I don't
But
think
they're going to give Marionberry one of the most guttered streets. Because, I mean, if you look at it, Good Hope Road before it became Marionberry, I would walk up that street nervous too. I knew when I saw a white lady nervously walk her dog up the street, I said, it's getting ready to be gingerfication. I say ginger for a reason because the ginger people are coming back. But it's like you have these program buildings, you know what I'm talking about? Wellness centers down there. But see, like I said, this is what I said earlier. We can be our own detriment to ourselves because I seen a guy that was like a crackhead. I mean, just strung out on drugs. He was outside of the door of the wellness center. So I said that's an oxymoron. You got the wellness center right there that you can walk in and get some help and be rehabilitated. You sitting out there strung outside of the wellness center on drugs. And then they call it Good Hope Road. So I guess they say, well, we're going to give this to Marion Barry.
did anyone come out and help the man from the
No, he
wellness
was just out there
center?
by himself, and the people just sitting there on their computers, like if he want to come in, he can. If he can, he was just sitting out there. So I said, this is he can get some help. I can't judge people because I don't know what people going through. But like I said, we don't have the nice stuff in the neighborhood because we'll tear it up. You see what I was saying about they write graffitis and gang signs and gang names up on all the. If we get new stuff before you by the end of the day, it's already marked up with gang signs and different stuff like that's why when we was talking about the metro, the safest place, Clarendon, Virginia Square, right?
But you don't go out there, do you?
I go out
Do you
there when I
do you go out to Virginia?
yeah I go out there. They look at me funny, but I just mind my business, because it's beautiful out there, and I understand why, because the white people are out there. But I go out there and look at the difference between a metro station in the hood and a metro station in the white neighborhoods.
Well, in the end,
They got better LED lights. They got better waiting time. I remember I was at Southern Avenue and I had to Southern Avenue station. I was waiting an hour and a half for a bus. That would never happen at Rawson.
at the Anacostia station, they're selling fragrances. What's wrong with that?
Nothing's wrong with that. I don't know. Is it stolen fragrance?
I don't know. A woman came up to me and said, "Hi, do you want to smell good?" And I thought, I don't think so.
See, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, that's what they do. We
But
just
but
walk.
they're not allowed to sell stuff on the trains platforms. That's what they're doing.
Okay, so that goes to show you. You said what's wrong with that. There you go. You can't do that, but that's what they do. We got to find a way to make our money. I seen a guy, a lady, I think at Southern Avenue Station. She had a big, what you call it, cooler, and she had the sodas in there and the chips, and it was right there. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they tip them and say, okay, if you sell right here, you got to give me a percentage or something. I don't know at the station. I don't know the managers or whoever. Maybe that's why they're able to do that outside in front of the station. Maybe what's that called? Is that called soliciting? Is that called
Yeah.
and it's another word for it.
Well, if you're playing music,
Loitering.
loitering is when you're just hanging around.
Oh, hanging around.
Not
Yeah,
doing
they do
anything.
that around my area. They hanging around. I go to work. They still there loitering.
Would you like to move to a white neighborhood like Virginia? Or Shady Grove is kind of white, right?
The only
Yeah.
shady. The only way I do that is if I have a white girlfriend and we move in together. Because me out there by myself, I always feel left out, which I don't care because I stay to myself. I just don't want.
What if you had a white dog? Would that count?
No, that won't count.
There are some dogs
Because you can have a white dog or black dog, just having any type of animal.
there are Caucasian dogs and black dogs, and I'm not talking color. The black dogs are the what do you call those dangerous dogs? Not the Dobermans.
What, pit bulls? What are you talking about?
Pit bulls. Yeah.
Yeah, pit bulls.
White people do not have pit bulls
Of
as
course
pets.
not.
It's
Of
down here
course
in
not.
Southeast. Everyone's got a pit bull.
Why do you think so?
I guess to defend themselves.
Yes. Like, oh, that's my baby. How you doing? And then when the shootout is, that's what they got them for.
Yeah, when I see
They
it,
cute though. They
when
all
when I
right.
see a pit bull, I try not to pretend to be afraid, and I say hi, and I'm
Right.
thinking, and I'm secretly peeing in my pants as I'm doing this
Do
encounter.
they sense you?
Well, I don't think they sense the fear, but so
Do they
far
sense like the racism?
I've been lucky.
They
No,
probably didn't sense no
no,
racism. That's why they didn't mess with you.
no.
I think they. I know I went to Ward 3 and all the dogs were barking at me in the yard. and I was just walking past. So it's and the white man, they always smile like everything's okay. Oh, and it's okay, it's okay. He's all right. He's all right. Because I started opening my mouth. See, that's when I open my mouth. When I see a white person coming with their dog, I'll smile and be like, "Hello, how y'all doing?" And that will disarm them. Now, like I said, the flip side, if I go to a neighborhood like say Chopper City or Cashville, and I'm with some friends, which I rarely be with them, they'll tell me just keep quiet. Because your mouth is going to get us all screwed up. But in War 3, my mouth will keep the cops off my back. Right? So it's a difference. But yeah, you go out to Virginia, they build all the stations out there, Mr. Penniman, like the Silver Line. You notice they ain't build nothing over here. Matter of fact, I don't even think they remodeled in the last 10 years in some of the stations. But they built the Silver Line. You go out there, it's so beautiful. Like I said, they got nice LED lights. But like I said, we our own detriment to ourselves because in some cases because we tear up everything that comes in that's given to us or if somebody else build it and it's nice, we'll come and tear it up. Compare the hawk spits at Southern Avenue or Anacostia compared to, let's say, Greensboro or Spring Hill. It's a big difference. And I understand because, Southern Avenue, Congress Heights, Anacostia, black people, we smoke cigarettes a lot. And that's
Does that mean you have to spit?
because the cigarettes, I think, from what someone told me, a professional smoker that's been in the game for years, he said sometimes when you smoke, the cigarettes make your mouth dry. So they always trying to keep their mouth in a way they keep their mouth with saliva. I don't know if it's involuntary or not, but they keep their mouth with saliva to keep their mouths lubricated. And before you know it, it's too lubricated, so they just hawk spit on the ground, and they do it a lot. And I'm like, and then I understand because everybody's smoking. Everywhere I go in
I,
the area, everybody's smoking
I
cigarettes.
don't even know how to spit. I've tried, but I can't do it.
But you don't
Down,
smoke though.
down here, it's a professional
Yes, it's
thing.
like, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god. See, if I got to spit, I get a napkin or something. They just spit on the ground. But see, I understand. I mean, you got to smoke cigarettes because you need something to calm you down. Look at the stuff that we got to deal with as black people on a daily basis. So I understand that. I was, and one of the also the most that we said the safest, and we're wrapping this up. We're wrapping this up. Um, um,
This is the longest discussion about the metro you've ever heard.
oh yeah, because as soon as I get off here, I got to get on the metro. So it's very important to me. But okay, so we said the safest ones is Clarendon and Virginia Square for the most part.
By the way,
And
by the way,
any
Clarendon is the medicine that you take.
but it's a metro
The
station out in
the
Virginia.
neighborhood is called Clarendon,
Clarendon. What did
Clarendon,
I say?
Claritin or something.
I say my D sound like a T, but I'm saying Clarendon.
Clarendon. Okay.
Yeah, I know it's a D,
Okay.
not a T.
Okay.
See, I see. That's why I said I know I graduated from DC public schools, but I can spell a little bit. That's why I was trying to help that guy that was saying "oi." But anyway, Clarendon and Virginia Square tend to be the safest, right? And along with all the other Northern Virginia stations. Now, the most dangerous ones, uh, Deanwood tends to top it the most, and then Anacostia usually trails behind a close second. Then you got other ones like Minnesota Avenue. I really think Minnesota Avenue is, it takes the cake for me because I was robbed there at one point. I remember I was standing there waiting for the bus to go home, and they came up to me, and yes, they had a gun. I didn't think they did, but they did, and he pulled it to my side, and he was like, "Yeah." They say they little
I
slang. I
really,
didn't know what he
I
was
really
saying.
think even though you're more powerful than I am, you're stronger, you're younger, you're more athletic.
You
You're
sure?
much more of a target than I am
Yeah, yeah. They
because
think you're
I
a
think
detective. They think you're a plant.
well, I'm somebody. They think I'm somebody. I might
Yes,
be
somebody
or
that.
if not, I'm connected to somebody.
That's what I'm saying. You're
And
connected,
they'll be
right?
in much more trouble if they hurt me than if they
Yes,
hurt
that's
you.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
why I said the last time when that lady was like, "Oh, can you wait for me, please, while I get a cab?" I was like, "No, you're fine. I'm the one that got to get out of here." But yeah, you look suspicious. Actually, you look suspicious in a black neighborhood, like
Yeah.
I would be in a white neighborhood. So they gonna come at me. So they came at me, and yeah, I do look a little because the guys that came to me, they were like scrawny, but like skinny. But he looked at me, and then he he just came up to me, and then two other boys came up, and he pulled the gun out. He was like, I got to get the gun for this, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to give you what I have, whether it's 50 or 60 cents.
$20.
That's the thing. That's why I named myself that, because all I had in my wallet $10. And when he came up to me and he wanted the money, I gave him the $10, and he was getting ready to pistol whip me for just having $10. So I had to go in my sock and give him the other 10, and he seemed like, okay, $20, that's good enough. But then while I was down there to get my $10 for my sock, I said, they're going to take my shoes. So I'm looking at him like, you want the shoes? And he looked at me and was like, no, I don't want them shoes. I guess he sensed that I bought the shoes from Walmart. So he was judging me. So he was like, I don't want your shoes. I thought he was going to take them off, but I was highly offended. I said, what's wrong with my shoes? They're just as good as foam posits and Air Force Ones to take. They're just as good as any other shoes. But he was like, nah, they look like they're from Walmart, which they were. But, it's shoes is shoes. And I'm like, I mean, and we black people, we crowd about discrimination all the time. But yeah, you're sitting here discriminating my shoes.
Oh, well.
We got to do better, people. We got to do better.
You survived.
And on that note,
yeah, we should wrap this up. $20 is going to be out there. We're going to be promoting him at
here we go again.
Various clubs, and
not happening.
See us on YouTube. At the very least, you'll see us on YouTube. We're going to drop every Friday at noon for your don't really want to work on Friday pleasure, and we're going to shoot for an hour every time. But this is Paul Penniman, an old white guy, and
$20.
A relatively young African-American man, signing off. This has been another edition of Keeping It 84. We can't be totally honest about our feelings about the racial differences in our cultures. Thanks very much for listening.
Have a good one.